Welcome back to my channel. Today for Bookmas, we are going to be discussing my most anticipated books of 2026. Now, granted, most of these are for the first half of the year because release dates and all that really aren't out yet for the second half of the year. So, the first book I am going to be talking about is, I'm also looking at my notes if I is Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy, and this is coming out January 20th. Now, Jennette McCurdy wrote the book I'm Glad My Mom Died, but also everyone may know her as Sam from iCarly. This is going to be a fiction book, I believe. I think I'm just going to read the description myself because I think it's hard to say what the book is about when I personally haven't read it myself yet. So, Waldo is a ravenous, horny, blunt, naive, wise, impulsive, lonely, angry, forceful, hurting, perceptive, endless, wanting. And the thing she wants most of all, Mr. Corgi, her creative writing teacher with a wife and kid. Why can I not read all of a sudden? Okay, I got it. So basically this student, I think, wants a teacher. And that seems very interesting considering her past. Okay, so the second book I'm going to talk about comes out on February 10th, and it is called Wicked Onyx. And I was just kind of looking books that come out in 2026 because I wanted some to be ones that I already knew were coming out, but my list seemed a little small, so I just found this book while researching and it seemed really interesting. So it's about Nightbridge Academy and it seems very fantasy. So, born into a sorcerer bloodline, cursed and cut from my power, I was accustomed to being an outcast. From generations, my bloodline carried the weight of a crime committed by our ancestor. But my mother's death changed everything. She left a clue that could prove our innocence, an ancient text hidden beneath the Knightsbridge Academy. I don't want to read anymore. I really don't like reading summaries. I like to go into books blind. So that intrigued me enough. It seems nothing too mind-blowing. It does seem more like stereotypical fantasy, like kind of like Harry Potter-esque, even though I haven't even read all the Harry Potter books. But it kind of is giving that, and I'm curious enough. All right, the third book coming out February 26th is How to a Guy in 10 Dates. Obviously, I think a play on How to Get a Guy in 10 Days. When Jamie Prescott and her best friend Lori attend a speed dating event, Jamie expects to meet a roster of mediocre men and indulge in some street food afterwards. She doesn't expect one of her dates to have his throat slit at the table during a blackout. After the lights come back on, there are more bodies on the floor. It becomes clear dating can be a very dangerous pastime. This seems very silly goofy, not too much not too serious, but I also believe this is the author. Hold on. No, it's not. I was gonna say this was the author that wrote Butcher and the Blackbird. It's not. But the website does say for fans of Love and Time of Serial Killers and Butcher and the Blackbird, How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates is one killer love story. So it does say also it's a rom-com, and so this intrigued me. I remember hearing about this on TikTok and I was like, "Ooh, write that down." So February 26th, I will be there. Next, March 3rd, mark your calendars. Haley Pham's book, Just Friends, comes out, and oh boy, am I excited. I have been trying and trying and trying to get an arc of this book because I am so excited, but also knowing that people getting arcs, it's like the not fully edited version. And obviously, I would love to read the earlier version and the current version, but it's okay. I will just wait till March 3rd if I have to. But I know she has worked on this book, I think for 2 years. But I think it's also kind of fun because we saw a lot of behind the scenes. She documented a lot of it. And I remember even not when she was in her current house, but even before then, she was like, "Oh, I started writing. It might become something." But this book is Declan and Blair, I believe are their names, and they live in some beach town. I don't think it's a real town. I think she made it up. And oh my goodness, I think it's a past and present timeline. And the cover looks like her and her husband, Ryan Trahan, really, really small YouTuber. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And I've seen the bad reviews. I have. But I'm gonna, one, form my own opinion on it. Two, I know she's gone in after and made even more edits to the book. I'm just so excited for this book. I think this is my most anticipated. If I had to give an award, March 3rd, I'm there at Barnes& and Noble or Target, wherever the closest bookstore in my vicinity will be. I'm there, I'm purchasing it. Ooh, okay. Next book. I never know how to pronounce her last name, but it comes out April 14th. Now, I have been approved for an arc of this book, and I haven't read it yet. Oh, the book is called Cherry Baby. I am just a fan of this author. I haven't read the book that they're most known for. I think that's Fangirl. Fangirl, yes. But I read the Carry On trilogy, the Simon Snow. I know Simon Snow and Baz were introduced in Fangirl, but I didn't know that. So I just read the Simon Snow trilogy and then I never read Fangirl, and I kind of don't have any interest in doing that. But what Cherry Baby is about, everybody knows Cherry's husband Tom is in Hollywood making a movie. Almost nobody knows that he isn't coming home. Tom is the creator of Thursday, a semi autobiographical webcomic that's become an international phenomenon. Oh my god, I can't speak. Semi autobiographical. That means there's a character in this movie based on Cherry Baby. Wide-hipped, heavy-chested, double-chinned baby. Cherry never wanted this. No fat girl wants to see herself caricatured on the page, let alone on the big screen. But there's no getting away from it. Baby looks so much more like Cherry that strangers recognize her at the grocery store. There's more to it, but I'm gonna stop there. I don't want to read too much. Like, I'm intrigued. I'm sold. Like, it kind of reminds me the slightest of Between Us by Vari McFarlane. In the sense that the boyfriend was making a show and Roisin was how I had a point. Oh, and Roisin was recognizing in the show that things were a little too similar to her own life. But yeah, April 14th. But that's not the only book I'm excited for on April 14th. So this is I Could Give You the Moon. Please forgive me. I don't want to butcher names and all that. So everyone loves Chanel Chow except Aries Yin. While Chanel has spent her entire life curating a picture-perfect social media personality, from her body to her hair to her camera-ready smile, Aries has spent his trying to hide in the shadows. But Aries' brother is missing, and Chanel's parents have secretly separated, and their only hope is each other. That was a little bit more, but that was enough to draw me in. And this was another book I found while just looking for books that I'm excited for in 2026, and this caught my eye, and I think it's the author's debut novel? I could be a total liar about that. May 5th, we have Carly Fortune's new book, Our Perfect Storm. Now, I have read I think I've read 3 books by her. I've read Every Summer After, One Golden Summer, and This Summer Will Be Different. I haven't read Meet Me by the Lake because everyone says that one's really bad. But I liked Every Summer After and This Summer Will Be Different. Wasn't the biggest fan of One Golden Summer, and I know that's a super hot take, but I still like Carly Fortune, and especially May 5th, it'll be summer, I'll want a summery book. So this one is about Frankie and George have been best friends since they were 8 years old, both passionate, impulsive, and headstrong. They've always clashed, and came back together. Until now, it's the eve of Frankie's wedding weekend and she doesn't know where they stand or even if George will show up as her best man. Then at the start of the festivities walks in George. For one glorious evening, surrounded by her loved ones, Frankie's life is finally perfect. But it all comes crashing down when her fiancé dumps her the next morning, leaving only a note as an explanation. Next, May 12th, Lynn Painter. I know she just came out with another young adult romance called Fake Skating. I haven't gotten around to it because I've been saving it for this winter time, but boy oh boy am I excited. I have read all of her other young adult romances though. I haven't dabbled into her adult romances, but I love her young adult romances so much. Better than the movies. Nothing like the movies. Betting on You. The Do-Over. All certified bangers. So she is writing another YA book. So Duffy Di Stefano, sounds Italian, loves three things: her dad, the family cat, and Minneapolis Coyote football. So after she gets booed out of a game and becomes the internet's villain, following an awful encounter with the team's beloved mascot, she is disgruntled. I love that word, to put it mildly. Eager to clear the air, Duffy agrees to an interview on a hit morning show. She doesn't expect a co-guest to join her, especially not the Coyotes' star tight end. That is so funny. I'm so excited. All right, and we're skipping June and heading into July. Okay, so in the UK, it is releasing July 2nd, but in the United States, it is releasing July 7th, and that is Heartstopper Volume 6. I am personally not ready for this. I know it's eventually going to lead into the Nick and Charlie novella, and we're getting the Heartstopper movie too, which is... I don't want to talk about it. I don't. So, this being the last installment of Heartstopper, I'm gonna go and say that volume 4 is my favorite volume. Charlie, my poor boy. I think that's enough of that. That's alright. So the last book, we don't have a release date yet. Right now all we have is fall 2026, but it is a Disney Twisted Tale. Now I have read, I think 3, and basically they're like Disney movies with a twist. So this one is about Lilo and Stitch, and it is Nobody Gets Left Behind. And it will be based on the 2002 film, not this live action one, because I hate that live action movie. So this one, so each of them has like a question on the cover, and that's kind of what drives the narrative of the Twisted Tale is, what if Nani and Stitch had to join the Galactic Federation to keep their Ohana together? So Nani is slated to be the protagonist according to the author's Instagram. I had to go to Wiki for this just because there's not a lot of information on this, but boy oh boy am I excited for this one. I love Twisted Tales, also because they are YA, that it's a lot easier to read. So those are my most anticipated releases for 2026. I am so excited to discover even more books in 2026, like ones I haven't even heard about yet. I need to pop my hip.